B-Jump Sunset World.
Sushi,
Sumo, Tokushima.
この番組は地域密着型のボランティア活動を徳島で行っている国際ワークキャンプのメンバーがお届けする30分です。
This 30 minutes broadcast is hosted by volunteer members who come from abroad to help the community of Tokushima.
Hello, good evening everyone. We're your hosts for this evening, Jimena from Costa Rica.
Hi, and I'm Lance Kita from Hawaii in the United States.
Yeah, this radio program, Sushi Sumo Tokushima, is live on FM B-San. This 30 minutes broadcast is hosted by volunteers members who come from abroad to help the community of Tokushima. Popular images of Japan, Sushi and Sumo? Yes, but we would like people around the world to not only these images, but more things about Japan. They share the news about Japan and information about Tokushima, a place that welcomes foreigners from all over the world. No one knows what language will be spoken or what kind of topics we will bring up, so don't miss it.
Sushi,
Sumo, Tokushima.
Hello, I hope everybody's having a really nice evening today. And how are you, Lance? Having a nice evening?
Yes, it's a little rainy, but it's nice.
Yeah. So, Lance, so we heard you're from Hawaii, from the United States,
aloha.
Right? Aloha. That's really nice. So, Lance, can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Actually, this is my second time living in Tokushima.
Oh.
I first came to Tokushima back in 1997.
Wow.
It's a long time ago. For 2 years on the JET program.
Oh.
And then 13 years ago, I came back again. And I've been here ever since.
So we can say that you, Lance, are the most experienced or the person that have been the longest in Tokushima in this program?
Just the oldest, yeah.
I didn't want to use the expression, but yeah, the oldest person to be here in Tokushima during the program. So we cannot say that you're a traveler as usual or a volunteer. You're living here.
That's true. I'm a long-term resident.
You're a long-term resident of the beautiful town of Tokushima. So, what have you been here all those years?
So the first time I was here, I was on the JET program. So I was an English teacher at a junior high school. And then 13 years ago when I came back, I also did similar things. I was doing some English teaching at a private school, at actually the same junior high school where I was on the JET program. So that was nice to come back to like the same school and the same community.
Yeah.
And then about 4 years ago, I moved to Tokushima Bunri University, which is like right across the street from this studio.
Yeah, it's really close.
And I now teach university students English.
So you have been teaching university students for only 4 years?
Yes, so this is my fifth year now.
Your fifth year. And how is it different to teach university students from the school?
Let's see. Well, they're older.
Yeah, definitely that has something to do with.
Yeah, actually there's not much of a change.
Really?
Yeah, to be honest. But it is nicer. They, in general, they want to have more conversations with you rather than this is study.
Really?
Yeah.
They're more relaxed?
Yeah, I think so in some cases.
That's surprising. I would have the opposite idea, actually, that the kids will be a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I think it's because they don't have to study as much English anymore. So it's now once a week rather than like 3 times a week at junior high school. So so I think it's a little more chill.
In junior high school, do you study 3 times a week?
Yeah, English is like a regular subject here in Japan, right along with Japanese and math and science and social studies. So, they have it several times a week.
That explains a lot of things because in Costa Rica, it's mandatory every day.
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice to actually have it every day.
Yeah, we have it every day.
That's the best way to pick up a language, right?
And we have two classes, two types of English. We have oral English and written English. It's different teachers and different sections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I wasn't aware of how the schools deal with the languages here.
At the university here, it's once a week for 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
So it's... To
and
be
is
honest,
it mandatory?
It's not. It is mandatory that they learn a foreign language.
Oh, it could be Chinese or Korean.
Yeah, we do offer some Chinese and Korean and a few other languages. So they can kind of put that into the mix, which is another good thing about university students.
Yeah, definitely.
Is you can now choose finally
some
of the
got
things
to
that
choose.
you want to study.
They got to choose. So they should want to practice some English.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I see. And, well, that's really nice that they are more willing to have conversations and talk. And how is the structure? Like, is it different moving from being a teacher from school, from a university?
Yeah, because in a university, I'm the teacher. So on the JET program, you're an assistant teacher. So you're working with a Japanese
English teacher.
An English teacher of Japanese, who's Japanese. And so, you're working with them in a team teaching situation. But here in the university, I'm the one. So I have to design everything. I have to teach everything. I have to grade everything.
Oh, the grades.
Yeah, I know.
That beautiful mountain of paper in your desk.
So, so what I teach is very different, I think, than what I taught in junior high school. Because in junior high school here, English is mandatory. And so all the first year students are definitely learning these grammar points. So and then second year learns this and third year.
The schedule and the points of what they're meant to learn.
The curriculum is very set.
Very set.
Yeah.
It's really structured already.
But in the university, it's a lot more flexible. And also the students
are more flexible.
Their levels are a lot more varied. So you have some students after those 6 years, 3 years of junior high school, 3 years of high school, can have simple conversations or write some simple sentences, and they want to learn more. And then we have some students who still have trouble making sentences. English wasn't their strong subject, you know?
It happens.
So how do you teach?
For everybody.
Yeah, everybody, because we don't split them up into levels here. So
you can have somebody that spent 1 year in the United States and speaks like super good English. And
I could, yeah. So,
if it happens, and it will be mixed with the guy
with the person who can't make a sentence yet.
That can make a sentence.
So that's the challenge, I think, of a university teacher, is how do you teach
so many
this wide range of levels? And so I try to keep the grammar on the simpler side.
Yeah.
But I try to make the vocabulary and what we're learning a lot more relevant to like their studies, their academic department. And hopefully then it'll be more useful when they go out into the workforce.
That will be,
So hopefully through that, they stay more motivated.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it makes more sense to them. Like they have a reason to be here, right?
To be learning English. Because at the end, English is for communication. Many people may focus it to business. Other people will focus it to traveling. Other people to conversation. But at the end, everything, it's kind of conversation in a way that you have to communicate with other people.
Yeah. I get asked a lot by Japanese people. They're like, I want to learn English. So what's the best thing to do, right? And I'm like, well, so you want to learn English, but what do you want to do in English? Or what do you want to say with your English? Then we can figure out what's the best thing for you to learn. So if you just want to be able to travel and be able to order at a restaurant and stuff, well, then that textbook or that class will be different from someone who says, well, I want to be able to have business meetings in English.
Yeah.
So that's why, they always start with, how do you learn English? And I'm like, well, what do you want to do in English?
In English,
it's really and that's how I structure my classes, is I think, what am I going to have my students do in English.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really complicated thing because everybody can see it from a different point of view because it's such a big thing. It's an everyday thing. It's like languages. It doesn't matter which language you're using. Like it's an everyday thing.
Right.
So, but like, what are you doing in your everydays? So, do you want to learn English to live in an English-speaking country?
Yep.
Because in that case, only having meetings is not going to be enough, or only writing really nice letters is not going to be enough. You need to know.
Yeah.
But other people, it's like, no, I only want to learn English because I want to read articles in English, or I want to read more things in the internet in English, which makes things a little bit easier.
Right.
So,
so for my students, I keep it relevant. So my childhood studies students, they learn how to teach English to young children.
Oh.
The media students, they learn how to create event information in English.
Oh, that's really interesting.
You know, so it's tailored to each place. Food and nutrition, they talk about food and make recipes and translate menus in English. So yeah, we try to keep it relevant, keep it real, and hopefully useful for the students. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think that it's easier for them to relate one thing in English with one thing that they are living in Japanese. For example, if they are studying nutrition, it will be a little bit harder for them just to learn random words in English rather than, so this is this in Japanese, because I actually have to study it for my exam, and now I have to study exactly the same thing but in English for my English exam.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, it would be, I'm trying to show them that it's not a subject, that English is actually a real communication tool that they can use.
That's the most important.
I don't know if that always gets across, but that's what we try.
That's the most important part. And now we would like to play one song, and after that we're going to keep with some interesting conversations.
Sushi,
Sumo, Tokushima!
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that song. That is from a fellow singer from Hawaii, right?
Actually, that's Israel Kamaka Vivo Ole.
Whoa.
That's a long last name, yes.
Whoa, okay.
And it's a mashup, I think, of Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful World.
Oh, I see.
I love that song. It's so good.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song. So now that we get into the Hawaiian atmosphere, we're going to talk a little bit about the subject of the second part of the program. So I'm from a Latin American country, and we have our own culture, and we have our own image of the United States, which is usually the continental United States.
Right.
Actually, didn't know that Hawaii was part of the United States till when I was like in high school.
That's okay. Some Americans don't realize Hawaii is part of the United States until after high school.
Yeah. So, and for us as a tropical country, we see Hawaii from a really particular perspective. We don't see it as a tropical paradise because we're kind of already a
tropical
paradise.
Yes.
So we see it less like a fellow friend. Like, must be pretty similar to what we have here, but probably speaking in English.
Yeah. So, lots of palm trees, lots of beaches, lots of resorts, and we speak English. Yeah, that's Hawaii.
That's the idea. But when I came here to Japan, I realized the Japanese people have another concept of Hawaii, or at least they are more aware of Hawaii. Maybe because it's closer.
Yeah, well, Japanese love Hawaii.
Yeah. I had no idea, and it was like Hawaii and blue, Hawaiian blue, and I was like, why do they like?
Did you ever wonder what flavor blue is?
Yeah, like I had this eyes, like flavor eyes, and it was Hawaiian blue. I was like, why blue? And it was like, because blue is the color of Hawaii, duh. And I was like, no.
Yeah, we can thank Elvis Presley for that.
Yeah,
for Blue Hawaii, the song. So
I got so basically no context about the relationship between Hawaii and Japan, and it turned out to be like really close relationship.
Yeah,
at least culturally.
Also, it's just Hawaii was the number one destination for Japanese tourists, like especially around the 1980s or 70s, around the bubble period. Yeah, so everyone, their first trip outside of Japan was usually to Hawaii.
Yeah, because it's nice. It's technically the United States, which is quite exotic.
And there's quite a few people of Japanese descent who are living there. Even today, I think it's still about 15 or 20% of the people are of Japanese descent.
Descendancy.
So the idea is that, everyone speaks Japanese, so it's safe and it's nice.
Is it true?
Not everyone speaks Japanese. In my family, I'm the only one who speaks Japanese now.
Wow.
But that's only because I studied it in school. Not because my parents don't speak it regularly. My grandparents have passed away already, so I studied. Yeah.
You had to study it.
Yeah, like everyone else.
So yeah, personally, I found so many interesting things about Japan and Hawaii. First of all, why is Hawaii blue? They say because of the ocean, and it was all the oceans are blue, but okay. And another thing is it's like a really famous destination for tourists, for tourism. But then I realized that there's something about the food as well.
Yeah.
And that got me a little bit, I had no idea.
It's interesting because if you say Hawaiian food, that's not one thing in Hawaii, because in Hawaii there's not just one kind of people. So therefore there's not one kind of food. So when we say Hawaiian food, you could mean the native Hawaiian food. That the Polynesians who originally came to these islands and set up their traditional culture, their food culture.
Yeah.
And it's not pineapples, because pineapples came after.
How could it be?
Yeah, and it's very different. It's not macadamia nuts, because those came from Australia.
Yeah.
So it's you'd be surprised how much of Hawaiian things are not necessarily original Hawaiian.
Like Hawaiian pizza.
Like Hawaiian pizza.
Which is actually from Canada.
Yes, exactly. And most Hawaiian people don't like Hawaiian pizza. So I've just put that out there. I don't like pineapple on my pizza.
On my pizza. Okay,
So-
everybody please take a note. That's really important whenever you have a Hawaiian guest.
Yeah. So you
Ask
have the
them
native
first.
Hawaiian food, and then you have like food that came with all of the different immigrants who came.
Yeah.
So like the Japanese, the Chinese, the Filipinos, the Portuguese, all kinds of people came, and they brought their food culture.
As well.
And then everyone embraced it. And it became a part of the local food culture.
Which is like, we'll say, like contemporanean food.
Yeah, like just local style, home cooking, I suppose. You can get one lunch that'll have like white rice, which is Japanese. You'll have like fried noodles, which are Chinese. You'll have some kimchi on the side, which is Korean. And then you have pork adobo, which is a Filipino dish.
Yeah.
And that's all on one plate. Oh, and then some macaroni salad, because we're American.
Because you're definitely American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is our food culture.
Wow.
Is everything all mixed together. So even here in Japan, there's been some like Hawaii foods that have become really popular here. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Like, since you already settled the fact that this, like, defining what is Hawaiian food, it's a little bit complicated to do.
yeah.
But let's talk about the Hawaiian food influence in Japan.
Yeah, the Hawaiian cafes here
Yeah.
like to have a lot of Hawaiian style foods in there. And a lot of it isn't native Hawaiian food, but that's okay. Probably the most famous thing right now is the loco moco.
Local moco.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
And loco moco is really simple. In a bowl, you put white rice down.
Okay.
And then you put a hamburger patty. And then you put a fried egg. And then you smother everything in gravy.
Oh
At
my
least
God.
in Hawaii, that's how we make it. Here in Japan, it's basically the same, but instead of gravy, because they don't really make it here, they use demi-glace sauce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's not native Hawaiian food. It's not
No.
really Japanese food, although it has lots of elements. It's like a donburi, right? One of those rice bowls.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like a
Yeah,
donburi.
and so it's interesting. It was invented in Hawaii at some small restaurant by someone who didn't have money and said, "Can you make me something cheap?"
And filling.
And that's all of the cheap things that are in a diner,
Yeah, definitely.
at least in Hawaii. And so that's what it became. And so it came here, and the Japanese loved it too.
Do you have any idea why is it called like that?
Loco moco?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Actually, we don't really know.
That name is from Hawaii?
Yeah,
or?
we think loco might have come just from local.
Yeah, local.
And then we needed it to sound like rhythmic.
Interesting.
So loco moco. So I don't know. We're not actually sure how the name actually came about.
Yeah. And for how long that dish had been around?
That's a good question. Maybe
because
the
it sounds quite
1950s or 60s, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty recent thing, but it's definitely a part of Hawaii's local food culture.
Yeah, now
it's part of Japanese like cafe culture. So.
Yeah, like cafe cultures. I will say cafe. I didn't expect that when I came here first, but I can totally say that cafes are part of Japanese culture, definitely.
Yeah, and real quick, the other thing that was weird was pancakes.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
has been talking about the pancakes with a giant mountain of whipped cream and strawberries. And that was made famous by a Hawaiian breakfast place called Eggs and Things. And they brought a branch.
Really American.
Yeah, and they brought it to Tokyo. And there were like 3-hour lines just to eat pancakes. And pancakes were not invented in Hawaii.
No.
So that's not a Hawaiian local traditional food. It just, people loved it. And now there's a huge pancake boom all over Japan.
Yeah.
And you can thank Hawaii for
bringing pancakes.
For starting it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically that in a restaurant in Hawaii, somebody decide to just add a ton of whipped cream to their...
which is actually, even in America, they do it.
I think, it's already a thing.
Yeah, so basically they just, someone who had loved those pancakes when they were visiting Hawaii wanted to bring it to Japan and so created a franchise chain. So that's how much Japanese love Hawaii.
Yeah, I think
down to the pancakes.
Yeah. Maybe it's not only the food itself, it's the meaning. Like, I ate that when I was, 16 and I went to Hawaii with my parents.
Yeah, I think there's like memories attached to that one, to the pancake boom, and that's what started it.
Yeah, it has it makes sense because I have seen that at least in Japan they also have a thing with Disneyland, Disney World. So everything that it's like related or has some memory attached to the visit to Disney World is gonna be like, I need it.
Yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia here.
Yeah, which is, I think it's a really, really nice thing. Yeah. So, all right, it seems that we almost reached the end of the program. We are waiting for message or request from you.
Sushi?
Sumo? Tokushima!
Hi people, and from today on we're gonna add a new little sketch to the program, which is your Japanese phrase. We usually don't speak Japanese in this program, but we want to people, especially non-Japanese people, to are learning or are struggling to learn a little bit of this beautiful language. What have they learned or what they like about Japanese? So Lance, I think you have been here a long time. Do you have any Japanese phrase or word that you really like?
Actually, the one phrase that I learned that I really like is ichigo ichie.
Oh.
And ichigo ichie means like treasure each encounter.
Yeah.
So each person you meet is a special meaning.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it really, I like to travel. I like to meet new people. And so, ichigo ichie has turned into like one of the things that I really, really hold important to me.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for the word of today.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I still don't have one, but I learned one. I learned one. I learned about a girl that said like, 時間貸してくれる? And at the beginning I didn't understand what it meant. But then I learned what it meant and I really like it.
Oh, cool.
So, this program is hosted by volunteer members working with non-profit organization B-FM Daigaku. We're open to and accepting any form of support or contribution you have to offer within the local community. Please do not hesitate to contact us by emailing radio@bfmdaigaku.net. We're accepting requests and messages via email. Please send your email or requests to requests@bfm.jp, including the title of the show, Sushi, Sumo, Tokushima. You can listen to this radio channel with your PCs and smartphone. If you're accessing with your PC, please go to the website www.bfn.jp and you will find a pink banner reading Sumo Radio on the left side of the page. If you're accessing with your smartphones or tablet, download the application Listen Radio, then select BFN 791 with FM B-san with the area Chikoku. So don't worry if you're listening with a weak radio wave, you can listen perfectly with this sound system. So no one knows what language will be spoken or what kind of topic they will bring up, so don't miss it. See you next Thursday. Bye bye.
Aloha.